outside. Oh,
Hey,
what's
Carter,
up?
where
I
are they?
don't know. What's up with y'all too? Bad girls.
I ain't got no. I sent you double trouble, Carter. I sent you double trouble.
Not yes.
I saw that. Yes, he was talking. So about the press conference?
That's curling your bone.
Nah, I wasn't good over there. I was on the EMT girl. Yes, sir. A couple of guys had a disagreement and one guy shot the other. That's all. We have an account with Clean Auto Wash. It's right through the phone, but I don't see a PT tag on it. That could be something else. Top of the show? I think I can do that.
We have an OTT. We have an OTT also.
Top of the show gets for the priority about that. You've got to get money for that. I won't be ready. Step in front of me, I will shoot.
Something on that side of the field, or did they hit the guy? No, I think I was. That's where I live right now.
Half my friends was, all my friends retired as police officers.
Oh, really? All right. Thank you, sir. Take care.
I don't mind using.
Jeff Slauson here from 19 News Now at the 19 News Digital Desk. We're going to be taking you live right now to the scene of a man who was shot at a car wash. Michelle Nix on the scene there interviewing a person that saw this happen.
AARONPHILLIPS, and I'm a pastor too here in Cleveland. I'm a pastor in Cleveland.
And this is your neighborhood?
This is my neighbor. I live right around. I live on East 36th Street.
I mean, how shocked are you to see all these police cars surrounding a car wash that they said was packed at the time, and then to hear that someone was shot inside their car?
Oh, I'm very shocked. I use this car wash. This is one of those car washes that you can pay a monthly fee and go as often as you can. So I come here on a regular basis because it's right down the street from me. And I am extremely shocked. My neighbor is usually pretty quiet, especially this time of the day. It's not nighttime. The sun is out. So I'm extremely shocked and disappointed that people are solving their dissolution, their problems, their disputes with guns.
Do you feel like you have to worry about this everywhere you go anymore?
I'm starting to feel like that. Yeah, I'm starting to feel more and more that you can't, you don't know who's carrying a gun with this new law that anybody can carry a gun anytime. So now we're starting to see the impact of that law. It manifests right in our daily lives, and I think that's why we were fighting against having that gun accessibility on a regular basis. As a pastor, I fought that law. I didn't think that was a good thing for us to be doing, and now we're seeing the manifestation of it right now.
Yeah, and the mayor just had a news conference today talking about plans for how to keep crime down during the summer, but I mean, it seems like it's already ramped up.
Well, I'm glad that the mayor is getting ahead of it because summer is here. I think that was a smart thing for him to do. But we're seeing the evidence that it's going to be a hot summer. We're seeing that right now, and I don't know what the dispute was about, but it certainly didn't involve anybody having to pull a gun. I mean, the vacuums are free. You just get in line and you go in line to get your car washed. It's really a simple thing. Nothing for anybody to fight over about where a gun needs to be drawn.
Yeah, witnesses said they were surprised somebody else didn't get hit because it was packed out here.
Oh, that's really, yeah. Well, that's the thing about guns. You know, once you start shooting, you don't know where those bullets are going, and we got to be very careful. Even if you may have a one target, but that doesn't mean you're getting the target that you're looking at. Some innocent bystander may end up getting shot, and that's really what happens a lot of times in the gun violence that we're seeing happening across our neighborhoods.
Just praying the person makes it.
I pray for the family. I pray for the person who got the gun and who used. I pray for the whole situation. And I don't know what they're going to have to start installing rules here at this car wash about not bringing firearms. You know, this changed the whole dynamic of a very nice neighborhood. This is one of the places where everybody would come and kind of meet, and it's really nice place to be. Really, normally we have no problem. Usually the only problem is the line is too long.
Yeah, normally I'm in the line.
That's the only problem, really.
Yeah, and I mean, it's always crowded when I come, but I've never had any issues.
Never had any issues before they made it the way it is now. We never had any issues, and since they changed it over where it's more self-serving, we never had any issues.
Thank you so much for talking.
Oh, thank you for being out here.
Very much.
Appreciate you.
So we wanted to be able to hop onto that interview as soon as it happened here. But I want to provide you with the latest information. We're going to keep this shot up right now so you can see this. But for those that are not familiar with this story, we just broke in with that breaking news. A 20-year-old male was shot at a car wash. This located on Carnegie Avenue near East 36th Street. Let me correct my English on that one there. On the lower here. Michelle Nix is going to dial in a little bit here so we can actually speak to her. She just had that great interview. Now, so what you're seeing, okay, so let's walk through this while we kind of go through what happened here. Those are evidence markers. Typically, we will see those when there are gun casings on the ground or pieces where they need to take photos and then get the evidence done. I know Michelle just dialed in here. Michelle, I don't want to take too much of your thunder here because I know you've got some limited information. So, yeah, if you want to just kind of you don't have to be on camera here, but just kind of explain to us what the scene is looking like right now as we look at that car that has those the bullet holes, in the passenger side.
Yes, good evening, Jeff. Just a sad scene out here. Witnesses tell us that it was just after 5 when they heard something. They thought someone had set off a large amount of fireworks. They said there was probably 8 to 15 shots fired. And as you said, there are several bullet holes in this gray SUV. That's where they say the victim was seated. He was seated in the car. They said he was slumped over the wheel. They were shocked when medics got here that he was alert when he was put on the stretcher, taken to University Hospital as a 20-year-old male in critical condition as far as we know at this point. There are a number of detectives out here, crime scene investigators. The homicide unit is here, but that may be just for the investigation purposes. We are waiting to learn more about the victim in this case. But witnesses say they are shocked that more people weren't hurt because of the number of shots fired and because this place was packed. And I know I get my car washed here, and every time I come, there is a long line outside of their parking lot just to get in. But you never have any problems, nothing like this. And they said it was packed at that time, and everybody basically said they just wanted to get out of the way. One man who lives in this neighborhood said it's always been peaceful here. He's very shocked to hear this. An activist that was out here today said something more needs to happen to stop this gun violence. Jeff?
Yeah, and Michelle, I want you to also explain to us here. So there's a car wash, and then is that like the self-service area where you could use a vacuum to clean your car?
Yes, exactly. The gray SUV was actually parked where the vacuums are, and that's where the person, we're told, was shot while he was in his vehicle. This is the Clean Express Auto Wash here on Carnegie and East 36th Street, and they say that there were like 2 lines of cars going into the car wash at the time, so it was packed. Someone said they saw a car speed off. As far as we know, they have not arrested anyone at this point. But again, you can see the bullet holes in the car. The person is basically where you vacuum your car out. It's hard to understand exactly what could have happened that could have triggered any type of violence here.
Yeah, and then Michelle, when we're seeing these investigators kind of come in here, I mean, you explained how many people were around there at the time. This could have been far, far worse, considering, I mean, that's just one part of what seems like a pretty busy area.
Yes, exactly. As I was saying, I mean, I get my car washed here, and there is always two huge lines, and lots of times you're waiting still out on East 36th Street to get in. But I've never had a problem with anybody even trying to cut in line or anything like that. But it is packed, bumper to bumper traffic when people are getting their cars washed here. And, you know, a man who is in another business said when he heard the shots and then came out, he was shocked that, you know, only one person was shot because there were so many people here. And there were people in their cars begging other people just to go, you know, and get out of the line and just go so that everybody could get down the street.
All right, Michelle, we'll let you get back to your reporting duties. Michelle Nix, thank you so much. We're going to stay on this shot, though. So, Michelle, keep doing your job. But, yeah, we'll be on your shot live as we normally do with these streams. Thanks again.
You're welcome.
All right, so we're going to let Michelle get back to her reporting, trying to see if they can get more people, speak to more people here. But the view that we're seeing right now, this shot of this clean express auto wash location, I want to show you right now what this looks like on Google Maps, just to kind of give you a view as to how many people can fit into this. And you heard Michelle say, I mean, she brings her car here, feeling very safe on that. So this is how many kind of stalls there are where you can use the vacuums after going through this cleaning area. Now let's go back to the live look that we have here to show you where that car is. That's in that first spot, basically, closest to the curb of these vacuums. That spot right there is where the entirety of this investigation is focused on, and where we've been seeing the markers being placed down, and where we've been seeing the bullet holes into the side of that car. Let's get back to just to reiterate our breaking news here. For those that are just jumping onto our digital stream here, Jeff Slauson showing you the latest in this shooting that happened on Carnegie and East 36th Street. 20-year-old male shot in a car that was located in a car wash. This is the Clean, what's the official name here? Clean Express Auto Wash. For those that are familiar, yeah, okay, this is actually a really great shot before I get back to that. Okay, so you can see the 5 there. Look below where the 5 is, right where the marker meets the pavement. That is where you could see a bullet casing. So what we can see and what we can tell, and there are two bullet holes in the left-hand side there, right, where you can see. So what we look for in this situation as we kind of monitor these types of investigations, you want to look for those markers. Wherever there's a marker that typically, I don't want to say absolutely, but typically that will mean that that is where a bullet casing is. So that is how you can try and figure out how many shots were fired and potentially how many shots either entered that car, hit the person that was in the front seat, things like that, and the danger that that then posed to the general public. So we've seen, I think, up to 7 or 8 at this point. The right-hand side there, near those green cones, there's some more markers there as well. There's one on the hood of the car there too. So what this does is it sets the scenes for them, gives them a clear view as to where potentially the shooter was, where they fired from, how far away they were, and how they potentially could have escaped. Michelle said she heard from people that were in the area that the shooter potentially drove off. All that we know, the only official statement that we have from police reads as such. Shooting happened about 5 o'clock. This is at the Clean Express Auto Wash. Man was taken to University Hospital in critical condition, had multiple gunshot wounds. We get that a lot, multiple. We don't know the exact number here. And again, you want to look down toward the number there. And that was according to EMS. And that is it. We do not know the current condition of the person there. All we know is that they were at least brought to UH in critical condition. We do not know if potentially the suspect has been discovered, named, things like that. And what we also do not know, at least where the potential suspect could be. These are very difficult things for police to find, but the investigation is very much still ongoing. We've been reaching out to police to try and see if we can get an update. Do not have that update as of right now. Again, the 20-year-old male was in that front left-hand side of the seat there. The person that Michelle interviewed, who we caught most of it, if not all of it there, had mentioned how people had said that he was slumped over in the front seat. Then when first responders arrived, they were surprised. Witnesses were surprised that the person was somewhat alert, or, I mean, let's just say it flat here, alive, when they did arrive. So that shows to how intense this scene was. Michelle Nix saying how this is a place that she frequents. She gets her car cleaned here, and for her, seems pretty safe, seems pretty fine. I mean, she mentioned how there's typically tons of people there, and that was also mentioned by the person that she interviewed. So a scary scene when you consider, I think what she said there was really telling, that only one person was hit, only one person was shot, and that's a very difficult thing to think of when you consider the fact that that is one of, at least what I can see according to Google, like 6 or 7 different stalls where you can have the vacuum going, right? So there could have been people in every single one of those stalls. A stray bullet, if this is purposeful, a stray bullet takes no effort to find somebody else, to find another car, to find a tire, to find a person walking. That's how serious that this shooting could have been, and obviously incredibly serious with this one person in critical, but could have been even worse. But now the attention is paid to the investigation, and the attention is paid to finding the person that is potentially responsible, or people that are responsible for this. Again, that gray SUV that you're seeing in the center of your screen there, the heart of this investigation, the heart of where the police are currently analyzing and looking into what happened in this situation. We've seen a couple, I'm trying to read the number on the evidence marker on the right-hand side that's below the feet of that officer. And if, Michelle, if you can hear me, try and assess how many evidence markers we have. You know, I'll have your mic up if you do know how many evidence markers there are there. But that's typically things that we like to look at and to see, to try and figure out possibly how many shots were fired, possibly where the investigation is at this point. But we've seen investigators walking in and around. That often means that it's not as much of a concern for people like our Michelle Nix. Let's see. Okay, 20, 24.
24 is the highest we're seeing so far there, Jeff.
Okay. Oh, yeah, awesome. Thank you so much, Michelle. So, yeah, so up to 24. And, again, that doesn't certainly mean that there are casings on the ground, 24 of them, but it's a very good idea that there are, which, if that's the case, that's multiple clips. If it is up to 20 of them, or it's an extended magazine that leads to 24, possibly around there. Oh, great, we're getting another shot. This is perfect. Let's take a look. Okay, so you can. This is great here. So you can see those extended stalls there. How many of them there were? You can assume that there'd be tons of people around that area that could be in those stalls. And so see what I mean when I was saying that they put these evidence markers down because they want to be able to assess what the scene looked like at the time. Yep, you can see right there, okay, on the right-hand side there, that is a casing right below the larger 24. That is a casing right there. So safe to kind of assume or guess here that there's potentially 20-plus shots that were fired in this situation here if number 24 is listed and there is, a casing there. Yep, you can see there, 22, same thing. So I'm guessing that's 21 next to it. And they look like, at least in part, that they're different sizes, too. Yeah, so 21 and 22, yeah, it looks like the casings are different sizes as well. Yeah, this is a great shot. Really great job by the crew out there. Yeah, so you can really clearly see here how many casings are on the ground there. 13, 14, 15, 18, 19, yeah, all of them surrounded by casings. And that gives a good view as to just how tense this scene was. If we did see 20 or so shots fired, if we have 20 or so casings on the ground, that implies that there were 20 or so shots fired during this. And you see that there were multiple ones that hit into the car. Yeah, just great work by the crew there, just kind of getting exactly what I'm talking about. That right there, those two there, that's individual evidence markers as well. So this builds the scene and shows them potentially where this person could have been standing and then how they would have left the area as well. So if all of them come from that spot right there, there's a potential that that is where the shooter was and then ultimately left in a certain area, and that's where the investigation then takes itself from this point. Again, reiterating our breaking news here for those that are just jumping onto our digital stream. A 20-year-old male was shot at a car wash. This on Carnegie at the corner of East 36th Street. There's some self-serve vacuum locations there that are on the corner, about a dozen or so, maybe less, on that spot. Shooting happened at about 5 o'clock. This is at that Clean Express Auto Wash. The person who was shot was taken to the University Hospital, taken to UH in critical condition, multiple gunshot wounds, that according to EMS. That's at least the latest that we have. We have not heard as of right now if a suspect has been taken into custody. Our Michelle Nix, who was on the ground there, spoke with a couple of people who said that they believe that that the person got potentially into a car. The witnesses heard screeching, cars' tires screeching after that point. But this area, Michelle knows from speaking with people and from frequenting this herself, this is really, really popular. People are there constantly. So one person shot here could have been way more, and especially as we had shown you there with the casings that are on the ground for how many shots were potentially fired in this situation. I want to show you one more time here. Yeah, perfect. We'll get a little zoom in there. Yes, you can see the inside of the car there to potentially see where some of those shots were. So we'll just kind of hang on with this shot for a little bit longer here, show you where the evidence markers are, show you where the police are kind of centering their investigation on. All right, so we will end our stream here. Seems like this is the max of what we've got from the situation. No update from police, right? Nope. All right, so no update from police on this as of right now, I believe. I'm gonna wait a couple more minutes. We'll see if there is any additional updates, and then if not, we're gonna end our digital stream. Just checking all of my. Nope. All right. So yeah, nothing, no updates here. We will, of course, if there are any additional updates, provide a digital stream for you then. But it seems like police are starting to slowly wrap up the scene there, the crime scene from this shooting that again happened at about 5 o'clock at a car cleaners, this on the corner of Carnegie and East 36th Street. More updates to come on this story as soon as we get them, both on air and online. And of course, if there is a potential for any danger in the area, potential for the suspect looking to be found, things like that, we will provide that information to you as soon as possible. For now, I'm Jeff Slauson with 19 News. Have a great night. Our news is continuing over on 19 News until 6:30. And then, of course, we will have our newscast on the CW at 7:30. And that is where you can find the latest information on air regarding this shooting that, again, took place at the car cleaners on Carnegie and East 36th.
19 News, now streaming on Samsung Smart TV. Search for channel 1035.